Hey guys, this is the Starcraft noob trainer and this is another tutorial. A Zerg vs Protoss tutorial with me as the Zerg in yellow on Shakur's plateau and the Protoss player on the other side, who is actually a High Master Terran player, but he likes to off-race a lot and his Protoss is also pretty good. As well as me, I also like to play the other races a lot, since you learn more if you play the other races too at a decent level. And yeah, with my Zerg, I'm probably able to beat some mid until High Master Protoss players when I'm in good shape and my macro isn't too shabby. So yeah, I'm going for an extractor trick. I actually advise, I think I just did it because I forgot to build my overlord at 9 supply. So actually building the overlord at 9 and not doing the extractor trick is a better decision, since you actually don't get extra minerals if you do the extractor trick. And just if you do it very well, then it's like equal to building the overlord at 9 supply. And yeah, he's scouting me with his probe. And I'm building my spawning pool. I think I built it on 10 supply. So this brings some advantages, also a disadvantage that you don't get too many drones too early. So yeah, I think that's why I did this extractor trick, just to get the pool before the overlord. So the advantage of this type of strategy is that you will be able to throw your hatchery before the Protoss player throws the Nexus. Because if he goes Nexus first, then the lings will be able to run in and just kill all the probes if you don't micros too well. And yeah, as I said, I can expand before him. And the also good thing about this is he can't harass me there with any pylons or any cannon rushes, because my lings are out so early. Yeah, you can decide to go for 4 lings or for 2 lings. It's not necessary to build more, since you want to have as much supply as possible in drones in the early game. And my scouting overlord is chilling here, since he can't attack me anyway, since I've seen him going for this forge expansion. And yeah, you can, if you're a Protoss player, then you can also wall on this map with three buildings, so you'll be able to throw the Nexus before you do anything else, if the Zerg goes for a standard 14 pool, because the Zerglings won't be able to get in. And you just cancel the second gateway then and replace it with a cybernetics core. Yeah, and I'm actually showing you a pretty fast muta build, so you won't go for the standard third hatchery, which will be done pretty soon if you play Zerg. And I will get my gases earlier and try to go for Mutalisks. And there's something about the Zergling positioning. I'm leaving these there to see if he's moving out with a salad or if he's trying to sneak by a probe. And those 2 Zerglings are checking the watchtowers. And since I've sniped the probe which he hit there earlier with the Zerglings, I knew there can't be another probe around, since his economy would have been behind if you sent 2 probes so early. And yeah, he killed 1 Zergling. Not a big deal, since I have still 3 on the field. And you always want to have at least 1 on the field, and if you see salads moving out, you want to build as much Zerglings. You want to build so much Zerglings that they can kill the salad and not more, because you don't need more Zerglings this early in the game, since you can't attack him anyway with this wall. And yeah, with a queen and some Zerglings you will be able to kill this salad, and the salad is actually not done to do some damage, but only to do some scouting, and which he does. So as a Protoss player, when you see such an early lair, then you have to be more careful than normally, because there can be so many things like Nidus, or more likely are Mutalisks. And I'm getting a macro hatchery in the main, which is a pretty key thing. So if you're not perfectly on top with your macro, then you should definitely build this hatchery. So if your lava injects aren't perfect, then you will need it definitely. And even if you have very good lava injects and stuff, a macro hatchery is always a good thing. And I've also already taken all my gases, and I will be mining them very soon, I hope, so that I will have around 1000 gas when my spire is done, which starts right now. And yeah, my minerals are pretty well saturated, so I have even 2 drones too much. So, you know, per expansion you need 16 drones, I guess, 2 per mineral field. And yeah, I'm just trying to mine the gas. Your main force will be Mutalisks and Zerglings. And when you have the watchtowers and know when he's moving out, then you know you have to build units, so it's as simple. And you can also get some spines for defense if he's going for some 6 gate play or something like that. And yeah, you should actually move in your overlord, which you should position at the start, because you always want to know what the opponent is doing, and especially with the new movement speed of the overlord, you can scout a lot there, and then you can prepare. So you will see if he's going for tech or some mass gateways, and if you see the gateways, then you obviously have to build more units and more defensive structures. And yeah, and he's getting the Twilight as standard versus the Mutalisk play, which he's suspecting. And yeah, he's also taking all his gases to play quite defensively, because if you see a Zerg 2 basing like I did, then expanding is a pretty bad idea, because the Zerg could crush you. And now my first Mutalisk are out. He's doing some War Prism Salad Sentry Harass, which is very good to kill drones, but he wasn't able to force field them in there perfectly, so I could flee with them. So he's trying to kill the Spire, which he probably will be able to, but I'm not sure if this was worth his investment here in so many sentries and salads, so I won't be able to build some Mutalisks in time. But he also lost pretty many resources, and if something like this happens, you know you don't need many defensive things like many Zerglings and stuff, because well, he lost so much, so he can't attack you with a huge force now. And I'm going out with my first Mutalisk harass, which consists of 7 Mutalisks as it looks like. And this is the moment when the Protoss has to be very careful, and he can't move out and he can't expand, because then he probably will be crushed from the Mutalisks. And you always want to go for probes or some idle stalkers or sentries, but you have to be very careful of blink and stuff like that. And you don't want to lose your Mutalisk, so don't commit too much with this harassment, since your Mutalisks are very expensive and it's not worth 1 or 2 more probes worth a Mutalisk. So just go in there, kill some probes, and when you see the army coming, run away. And you can do this to pylons too and stuff, and just try to be as annoying as possible, but you should also spend a lot of attention to your macro. So yeah. And I'm getting my double evolution chambers, getting the melee upgrade for the Zerglings and the armor, since I'm trying to dump all my minerals in Zerglings and the gas in Mutalisks. Then if you have some Mutalisks, you can decide if you go for a big Mutalisk ball, which can be horrible for the Protoss, but also backfire pretty bad, since if you run in a giant storm or something, or he has many Archons, then you're quite screwed. That's why you have to be very careful with those expensive Mutalisks. And at this point of time you have 2 main armies, which are the Mutalisks to harass, and you can also use the Zerglings to harass. So you can distract with one army and attack something with the other. Like I'm doing here, I'm trying to get some probes. When stalkers are here, I try to run away, and he's trying to take a third. So since all the stalkers are at the main to defend the Mutalisks, there's not a lot here. And if you split his army, my Zerglings would have been able to just kill it. So he pretty much couldn't expand, since I did some aggression. So this is a very aggressive strategy, and you can't just sit back with Ling Mutalisk. And yeah, taking more gases. My transition is now to Banelings and Baneling drops, since I already have my +1 and my +1 melee and armor upgrade. So the Banelings will be even stronger. You can also switch to roaches, but you don't have the roach attack upgrade, so you should actually stick to melee units like this, since you know your opponent will be going for many stalkers, since they are the counter to Mutalisks as well as Archons, but this early on 2 bases it's very hard to afford Archons. So you will be pretty safe with this. And the Baneling drops open a new attack path, actually a harass path, which is you simply go with 2 overlords and try to drop the Banelings into the mineral line. And if you do this with actually 4 overlords simultaneously, so 2 on this side and those 2 in the main, then you definitely will kill some probes, unless your opponent is a grandmaster or very high master Protoss player, because you have to be careful on so many fronts, and you have to to spot these overlords immediately, and this is really very hard, especially if you're moving your main army next to the Protoss main army just to show it. He will be very nervous and focus on an engagement or something like that, and he won't see those overlord drops coming. And I'm massing more Zerglings. Probably another macro hatchery would have been necessary for me here, since my Zerg macro doesn't seem to be perfect. And yeah, well, the counter to Mutalisks and Zerglings are obviously High Templars, and you see I didn't kill any probes in the main, and he killed my overlords with 4 Banelings each, but he was a little bit too late at the natural. And if we look at the income tab, he has only 33 workers to 80. So, well, this actually worked and was definitely worth it. And you can do this multiple times, especially if you show your main army next. If I went with my Zerglings there, and he would have concentrated on my main army, and I probably would have gotten even more probes. But you have to be very careful with this play, and not engaging is a pretty good decision, since your opponent will stick to his bases anyway if you keep active with your Mutalisks. And yeah, I have decided not to build more Mutalisks, but to spend my gas into the Banelings. And as it looks like, he sees that he's behind, because he's lost so many probes, so he's going for some kind of semi all-in. And I've got many Banelings in the overlords. This strategy is actually pretty hard to micro, and I'm losing some Mutalisks here. Shouldn't happen to you, hopefully. And you have to press unload on the overlord while you're flying over the Protoss army. Especially if the Protoss is going for Colossi and Stalkers, this is very effective, since those Banelings counter pretty much everything the Protoss has if you drop them. So force fields are completely useless, and storms, well, they just hurt the overlords, and especially if he's engaging on creep, then you have a pretty nice advantage. And I'm going for the Ultralisk then, since my melee and armor upgrades are pretty awesome yet. And those Ultralisks also counter those High Templars pretty bad, because with this high armor and those many hit points, the storms won't do too much to them, and they will just crush the Stalkers and the Zealots and everything he has. And Broodlords aren't the best decision here, because if you go for Ling Muta, he will probably have many Stalkers to kill those Mutalisks, and Stalkers are in the late game not so bad versus Broodlords, since they can blink. And yeah, he's lost his complete army, and he knew there was no other chance for him to win. So yeah, this was it. I hope you've learned something. I took my third pretty early. You can actually, you can also take it when you're harassing with the Mutalisk and have some spines here, you can just do your standard creep spread and do the pretty nice spine wall here, so it will be super safe, so, and still not behind. So if you want to play it more safe, just take your third later and stick to those Mutalisks. You can also build more Mutalisks. And yeah, the main goal of the strategy is just to keep your opponent in his base, as well as it's pretty much the same versus Terran. You're also safe versus drops and stuff. And if he's opening for phoenixes or something, you can just add corruptors or just go for another strategy. So you can go for corruptors and zerglings and infestors or something like that, which are pretty good versus the phoenixes, or just throw some spores. You can go for hydrolisks, just for some to defend those phoenixes. But if he's committing to this phoenix play too hard, then his main army will be weaker, so you don't have a disadvantage if you spend a lot on your anti-air defense. So this was it. I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, more tutorials are up to come.